The much anticipated Apple Worldwide Developers Conference, known in your hood as WWDC, will kick off on Monday. The tech giant is expected to highlight AI integration in their products. So what does that even mean for your iPhone or your MacBook? For more, we bring in our own Dan Howley here. Dan, what are we expecting?
Yeah, so we're expecting a slew of kind of AI offerings from Apple across different product lines, whether that's iOS, macOS, iPadOS, maybe watchOS. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman basically said that they're inventing Siri from the ground up, and that Apple has actually teamed up with OpenAI, ChatGPT creator OpenAI, also Microsoft partner on a number of AI initiatives. So that's a big deal. I think one of the main things to talk about, though, is just what this will mean for the average consumer. And out of the gate, not too much. I actually have a piece that I've written up for this week's tech newsletter, which everyone should subscribe to, basically talking about how people don't purchase their phones for software. They purchase them for screens, batteries, performance, camera. Yeah. The narrative that this is going to drive some kind of sales super cycle for Apple, it doesn't really hold weight to me. I think that these AI capabilities will start to move units when people's iPhones start to slow down because they can't run those kind of AI capabilities. But when they do land, I think you'll be able to do things like edit your photos more easily. It's something that Google already has available, Samsung already has available. Transcription features, which, I mean, Apple absolutely should add. Google already has one as well. Real-time translation will be welcome. That's something that you can find on Google's Pixel phones as well as Samsung's phones. So it's going to be a lot along those lines. I think really, honestly, to me, one of the cooler aspects is the smarter Siri. Right now, Siri is dumb as a box of rocks. I just ask it to, set a timer. My wife, every morning when we're on when we walk to the subway, she says, set a timer, set a timer, set a timer, set a timer. Yeah. And eventually it works. Or she just does it manually. A smarter Siri would be very welcome outside of just checking the weather and setting timers for how long it'll take to cook chicken and being able to walk.
I mean, it always seems like there's a little bit of a use case curve with some of the new integrations on the software front. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, I mean, when everyone was putting a home assistant in their homes, mm-hmm. it was, okay, I gotta say everything possible to the home assistant mm-hmm. so that I can either set a timer or I can make sure that I am just automating my life in the best way possible. And then that starts to peter out and fizzle a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's check the weather now and what's the traffic.
Exactly. And so it's a larger question of what is the additive elements that generative AI is going to give people in terms of productivity with these devices, or simplify what they are already trying to do. And I honestly think we're just having a discussion here, folks. I honestly think it's going to be through what we've already heard in translation. There's going to be a lot of translation services that generative AI can potentially make easier. And if you have a product like the iPhone that you've already got paired with your AirPods or your earbuds, why wouldn't that be another add-on feature that generative AI could potentially weave in?
I think you said the magic word. It's productivity, right? Yeah. I mean, for the average user right now, Microsoft has a few features. They announced that the recall feature where the laptop will essentially screenshot everything you're doing and then save it. Mm-hmm. Sounds cool and might be awesome, especially if you were looking to research. Someone was showing me the Microsoft unveiling. They were looking for a trip to, I don't know, Bermuda, right? It would screenshot your website. So then you can just go into search and say, okay, what website was that? It was Bermuda, June, whatever. And it'll pull up a screenshot of the website and show you exactly what the rate was. And so you could pick off from where you left off. It'll even launch a link to that site. There's also the security aspect of that, though. You might not necessarily want everyone seeing what you're doing on a computer. It also won't necessarily block out certain sites. You'll have to block that out on your own. So if you're loading up maybe your banking site, you're going to have to block that. That said, it's an interesting feature. I think that's something along the lines of where we'll start to see consumers kind of get the benefit. But I think right now it's largely Wall Street that's saying, Apple, get generative AI on devices. You don't really hear many people saying, man, I really wish my iPhone had generative AI. You hear them saying, it'd be cool to have a better camera. The cameras are great right now, don't get me wrong, but if it could zoom a little more, or the screen, maybe the screen folded or something like that, or the battery lasted longer. I mean, right now my battery lasts all day, but these are things that people actually want. A thinner design, they just released the new iPad Pro. I've held it, and it's like holding a piece of loose leaf paper. It's like, I mean, obviously not exactly, but it feels that thin. So I think that's what people actually want. The generative AI stuff is really what Wall Street wants, just so they can say, well, Apple's not far behind anymore. They're part of this conversation.
And they see a path to monetization on it as well.
Eventually.
Yeah. Dan, thanks so much for breaking this down. A very big event. Yeah, I mean, you're getting ready to travel out there.
I'll be flying out there. Yeah, it'll be a blast. Get my Wendy's and Chipotle and hold up in my hotel room.
No In and Out. Okay, that's interesting. We'll break that down in the food segment here. Dan, appreciate it.